want to be on film, which I haven't asked you to be. So, Mark, how is it in Bangladesh today?
It was cooler and a little bit rainy also. It rained for a little bit, and now it's really nice. So in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
And yep,
everybody, if you forget about it, Mark is um, 12 hours now. It depends on what time we're on, whether we're on daylight savings or not. Are you 12? What time is it, Mark, there?
it's exactly 12-hour different. So
Yeah,
we are almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
right. Yeah, 2:59 in the afternoon here in Idaho. So, and Mark is 2:59 a.m. What times it get light now this time of the year, Mark?
It gets
Lost Mark. It's
around, yeah, around 6 o'clock in the evening, the sun sets. So
but
you
what
have like
times it
12
come
hours.
up? What times in the morning?
Yep. It's also like around 6 o'clock in the morning we get sunrise. So it's about 12-hour daylight.
Under 12. Well, you would have been 12 on the solstice, so the 21st
Yes,
of September. So not that long ago. So yeah, you would be close
right.
to 12 right now.
Yep.
Um,
Is it same way in Colorado? I mean Idaho?
no, because we're on this the daylight savings, it actually
Okay.
doesn't get dark until about 7:45, 8-ish. And then it gets light at about the same, 7:30 or
Uh-huh.
so, a little bit later in the morning.
And you're also higher up in the altitude, like not
Oh,
altitude, but
well, we're higher than you because you're right on the
right.
coast, but we're not like Colorado. You're remembering us being in Colorado where we were at 5,000 feet. So we're closer to 2,400 here.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
we're going to talk about whatever you want. So throw out some stuff, put it in the chat, and we'll talk about topics that you're interested in the audience. And as we always tell you, most of our webinars have got way more people watching this as a replay. So those of you that are live, again, thank you for being here live. And you're the ones that get to contribute questions and doing all kinds of things. So throw them in the chat. I'm going to share my screen a lot today. So I'm going to do that right now. And we're going to look at the one that's got Zoom on it. I believe that's the right one. Yeah, that's the right one. And share that. And then going to go to a business plan, actually. So this is the business plan for a very cool project that we're working on that we have now moving down the road in our due diligence. And um, this is the front page of a business plan that we're going to make available to all of you if you'd like it. And we'd like your thoughts and ideas. Business plans are very detailed documents, and they're intended not to be like, real fun reading. Instead, they're intended to be for people who are very serious about somehow getting involved with the business that the plan is describing. In this case, the business is called the Resort at Riggins Hot Springs. And our slogan is "A river runs through you." And that is a play on the old movie that's out there that's called A River Runs Through It. And that's about a river in Montana that is running through a location I don't know why my phone keeps telling me, it says it's lunchtime. My phone's screwed up with the time. Now it's got somebody calling me, which is spam. I'm ready to get rid of it. So this is what we're using for a slogan. I believe on the, oh, you know what? It doesn't have it. I thought we had the logo on the business plan here, but Mark would, I'm going to put up here another, I'm going to put something here. And this is emails that I've gotten in the last few minutes. So I'm going to put up a Google slide. Sheets. Where are slides? Come on, slides. Well, let's go to Drive.
It was
Drive. It'll come up
okay.
here. Here it is. So this is a gallery of photos. And going to take a little while to load. This is a very large file. And I've showed some of these, not very many of them, and they didn't have captions on them. Wow. This is not the way that it would show up if you actually watched it. This is a preview in edit mode. I could put it into view mode. We're actually doing some editing, making sure we get margins right. I'll put it into view mode and we'll watch it as a slideshow. So this site is down in the Salmon River Canyon. From where this view is, this site of this hot water mineral springs, that's over 2,000 feet in elevation higher up at the top of this ridge. So that's a long way. Our property does go up that far. And so this is all on the property, what you're seeing over here. I'm just moving through slides. This is the, going too fast, sorry about that. This is the lodge that we have. This is a side view of it. This is a table where you can clean fish, and that's where you would throw the stuff you weren't keeping into. Nice tables and chairs by the pool. This is the hot tub. This is natural mineral springs water. The spring actually comes out of the ground right up here where my cursor is, about there. It goes out into an area that you'll see on another slide. And then we pipe it underground to right in here and right there in the middle of the pool. And then you're going to see later slides where we can take it right from there over to this hot tub, have it go into here first, then it comes out of here back into the pool again. And when it's in the pool, it's at body temperature, 99 degrees approximately, 98, 99, very unbelievably comfortable. And then in here, it's at 105 degrees. The water is so mineral rich, but with no contaminants in it that's not been filtered, you can drink it. So usually they would say, you know, there'd be chlorine in a pool or fluorine that's treating it. This is a pool house over behind here. You'll see some images. This is our lodge up this way. This is what the Salmon River that's right by the site looks like. This is a beach. The flows do go up and down, so this water might be all the way up here earlier in the year. We're at the low flow time of the year right now, so the level's down. This is a pond that we have on the property. The pool is over here. That's this what we call the pool building. This is we call lodge number 2. That's here. Nice table that we have by lodge. This is lodge 2 looking out at the pond. So we have a pond that was put on. It's been here over 50 years. And there are trophy trout, rainbow trout in this pond. This is the front of our main lodge, which is 3 stories. It does need a little work, little upgrading on the decking. Pretty cool. It's got a Western decor, saddles. Those are real flowers. That's not fake flowers in the containers there. That's looking more at the full lodge building, 3 stories. Upper story we call the Eagle's Nest. There are 5 suites on the second floor, 2 facing this other direction and 3 facing this way. This is the recreation and seating and gathering room and a library room. There's a library also upstairs. This is the eating area, dining area. This can be set up for formal dining. It'll seat about 30 people. Again, another different view of it from another direction. You can see it's the other way. This is the gathering room, living room with a beautiful wood fireplace. All of this decor comes with it as we now acquire this from the current owners. Now we're looking across the area, the living area. This is now in the entry area. We get all of these, I'm just going to call it decor that's with it. This statue of a Native American fishing, we call it a creel. That's where you put fish when you've caught them. There's a picture of the other side. Those other things were on the other wall. This is a rack to put books in and other things. This is our greeter. It's kind of a joke, but not really. It's just a mannequin of a person sitting on a saddle. There's looking out to the door. This is something we're going to refurbish. We're going to turn this all into a large door, 2 doors entry area right here. One of the lodging rooms. This is one of the beds. There's actually another one over here by this rug. There's a seating area in the room also. There's where the other bed is. That was the rug that we saw in that last photo. Another one of the bedrooms, they all have names. This is called the Lodgepole Suite. This is called the Larch Suite. Again, a third room, a fourth room. This is our entry bridge. This is a road big enough for vehicles to go across. 400 feet long. There it is from a sideways look at it on our landscaped area. Mark, tell me if people have questions as I'm going through this.
Yeah, there's one question. So, is this your new conference center?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it's about a 3-hour drive from where we're at. And those of you that have been around us for a while know that we've been looking for a site like this for a long time. We had hoped that Mountain Sky Ranch in Colorado could be this, but we never were able to get the lodging there to where we wanted it. This is the premier lodging in the state of Idaho and maybe in the Western United States to do this kind of thing at.
And a follow-up question, what is the conference capacity?
Great question. And the capacity is one number, but more important number is how many do we want to allow here? To move my camera away from me here. The capacity might be as many as 1,000. This is a very large piece of property. And you'll see some aerials of it later. But we are probably going to be limiting it to groups that will be, maybe the largest groups we'd have would be for weddings. And there might be maybe a couple hundred. But for conferences, we want to keep the numbers under 100, more likely in the 40s and 50s. And the intent is to have courses that we do over weekends and then for longer sessions for a week long. So have Elaine Ingham come in or Mark Shepard or any other of there's hundreds of speakers that we've had through the last 8 years on the EAT community, as well as a number of others. And those types of sessions and conferences will be 20 people, let's say, that will get very personal time with the instructors and the people. And the nice thing is it's not going to just be sitting in a classroom and watching it up on a screen. Instead, you're going to have this beautiful site in the background. I'm going to keep scrolling a little. This is the signature of the site. The name of what we're calling this is the resort at Riggins Hot Springs. The reason the name Riggins is that in 1900, John Riggins moved from the East Coast and immigrated into this area and was the first person to find this spring. The Native Americans have been using it as healing water, and its name is Winkakesh in Nez Perce language, and that means healing waters. And for as long as there's written evidence, the Nez Perce used this as a place to come when they had various different diseases, injuries, and so on. Now, they didn't have a pool like this, obviously. I'll show some other images, but where the springs come out of the ground, and they would have mud baths and where they'd sit in places and have the mud that they believed has healing qualities. They could drink the water. This is drinkable water. There's no chlorine, fluorine, you name it in it. The water that now is diverted from the actual where the spring comes out of the ground, and we'll see that in another slide over here to the left on this picture, is drinkable as it comes out of the ground. It comes into this pool now right here and then gets distributed throughout. It's 107 degrees as it's coming out of the ground. Here you see a better view of it. That's the pool that we just saw. Here's the spring comes out of the ground right here. This is a cliff, very, very steep, right through here. It's also steep here, but not as steep as the cliff. And this is where it comes out, and then it spreads out here in what looks like to be a pond. That is deep, dark colored mud all over here. And through the years, in the 1950s, they diverted from where it comes out right here over through pipes and into the pond, the pool right over here. And the water's 107 when it comes out here, and it's enough to fill a 4-inch pipe in terms of its quantity. It's a huge quantity. We'll be able to put multiple indoor growing structures. This is a greenhouse. You're going to see images of this a little bit later. That will be able to grow even tropical foods year-round indoors because of using the warm water. That's the attraction of this site. This pond was put in about 50 years ago. It stays stable in its height. That is the inlet for it. And that's cold water, 53 degrees, coming out of a stream that's down this way. And you're going to see a slide of that a little longer, through a 12-inch pipe flowing along this hillside, going underground about right here somewhere. And that pipe is used to go to irrigation pipes that keeps this green all throughout the year. This is a banana belt area. There's snow on the mountains right above it, but it stays above freezing most of the years through here. Again, I'll keep going. What other questions, Mark? This is that pond from a different angle. These trees, not this one, but this one, this one, this one, and this one are called healing trees, traveling healing trees. They're not native to this area. They weren't brought in by the white man or the settlers that came with John Riggins. John Riggins was the founder of this place from he was the first settler from out of the area to come in and put some kind of a dwelling on the site. And his brother Fred actually came here after him and lived here for many years, like 20 years. But anyway, eventually it got developed into a lodge. But before that, the Native Americans had brought these trees, there's 4 of them here, in. They're not native to this area. They shouldn't even grow here. They're semi-tropical. And the Native Americans strongly believe they have huge healing qualities, just being around them and under them and having the water that's around them that are affected by them. Again, I'm not saying those beliefs are right or wrong, but that is what they believe. Here's the site from the air. You can see that it can be snow. These mountains are 8,000 feet. This site is at 1,800 feet. This is not the site. This is over the hill from the site. This is the ridge that's on the property that you see in the background on this picture. So that's actually above these trees here, that ridge. This is 2,000 feet above it over here. This is probably 800 feet above it right here. So it's looking the opposite direction away from where the site is. Now you're looking from an aerial down at the site. There's the pool again. There's the spring and the water from the spring. There's the pond. Here's the bridge going over across. This is the Salmon River. This is a pretty cool picture. Here's those cliffs. The actual spring coming out of the ground itself is right here. The cold water comes from a stream this way, and I'll show that one in a later slide. When you got questions, Mark, ask me. This is one of our lodges where we have 3 suites that are going to be available. Our main lodge is back there. It's sort of in the background here. Again, this is irrigated year round. I'll show you where some of the irrigation piping is. Another slide. Different view of that lodge.
There's one question. So you'll be doing conferences both virtual and in person. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
We have very strong internet here. And if you notice, you haven't seen any wires. All the electric power comes under that suspension bridge, goes into the ground, and is distributed throughout. And you're going to see that we have a 50K, which is enough to do several dwellings, backup power, diesel generator. But we will video everything we do live. So yes, it'll be available both virtually and as recordings. This is the deck in front of one of the lodges. Mark, is there another question? How would you like to sleep in there? Nice looking, huh? That's one of the rooms.
Yeah, the big one. Alicia has a link for everybody, so that's nice. I don't see any other questions though.
What's the
from the
link?
audience. Yeah, this is a link to
What is her link to?
It's the major road remains impassable after Helene. So I think this is
back in North Carolina. Yeah, that's sad.
right.
So this is the office and check-in location. So guests would come in. They wouldn't actually initially they'd bring their luggage into the lodge, but then they come over here to check in. There's a computer that's back here, and this is where the office manager will sit. This is a storage room, and that's a ladder going up to a storage up above it. There's a lodging area for that manager right behind. This is what we call the pool building. There's actually 2 other bunk beds, so this will sleep 8 people. There are showers for people that are using the pool and want a shower. This is a recreation room in the lodging building. The lodge is those rooms you just saw are back behind here. There's a lot more of these tables. This will seat about 60 people. You'll see some other slides. Pool table to play some pool. This is right up above it in the winter. I got this picture from an archive from people who've been there. So it can be really cold and miserable up top, and it can be beautiful down at the site down here. So that would be up the hills. This is what it looks like where the spring comes in. It's natural. And then we have the irrigation. We mow this lawn, and then that's one of the irrigations where it'll have a sprinkler up here, and it throws water out. The pool's right over there. The lodge is right over here. This is the power building. So inside here is a generator for backup power, batteries for backup power storage. There's an underground tank right here with diesel in it to be able to just to fuel the generator. And this has batteries in here as well as the power that comes into the site. A lot of equipment sitting out right now because this is right in the process of being sold to us. So they were showing us what all the equipment it is. And that's my truck right back there with you've seen that one in other videos. And those are some of the mowers and different pieces of equipment that we're going to get with the site. That's the diesel generator, bunch of other tools and different things in the building. This is the lodging for the office. This is that table you saw on a previous slide. This is where the lodge manager will be able to be living. There's another level here, a second story with other beds up on top. There's the desk. Here's a little more close-up view of where the lawn landscaped area is, where again the hot springs flow into this area where that's mud that you could go bathe in there if you'd like. This is looking at a side view of the front deck of the lodge, the main lodge, which is 3 stories. And this is a grill area, seating area, barbecue grill, second barbecue grill, but this area is made to be seating. It needs a little work. We're going to do some refurbishing of the stuff on the ground. That building that is the office building is right here, right next to this. Laundry area. This is a commercial washing machine over here to the right. Walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer. So you cooler first and freezer, typical the way they're set up. Just another view of it. This is the grill from a different angle. You can see me taking the picture over here. This is the lodge building. The stairs, back stairways here, and then the kitchen, commercial kitchen is right up in front of there. This is behind it, and this is an orchard up above where there are about 7 different fruits: apricots, pears, peaches, apples, plums, and it's terraced to where we have the orchard, and then there's also places in there to be able to develop also. Now I'm looking the other way, back at the door that goes into the lodge, and the kitchen is right here. So those windows are in the kitchen. This is a back door. This is along the back side, and that's actually the front of the lodge up here. Stairway inside the lodge going up to the 2nd and 3rd levels. Another view of it. This is the kitchen, which is really outdated, and we're going to be improving this dramatically. I'll show another slide that shows you what the kitchen's going to look like as we improve it. The living room, I showed this earlier. Gathering area, eating area. Library. We need more books. You guys can help provide for our guests. Where we store wood, everything can be heated by wood. Again, you can get a theme here. If this could be completely off-grid if you needed to be. We could be entirely self-sufficient here. Have all the water we need, have all the food we need, have all the shelter we need, have all the energy we need for about 40 to 50 people. Back side of the lodge, looking over at the grill area and the office. Another view of the wood. The pond, you've seen it from a couple different angles, looking back. Those are, by the way, willow trees, weeping willow. lot of different tree varieties here. The well, we'll show the well building in just a minute. Some geese on the ground here. Geese, more geese here. These are the healing trees again, right along with the pond. The orchard, here's a bunch of the trees, younger versions, little older ones here. A lot of the fruit's gone. Now it's already been harvested. One of our partners, Dorian, who's back in the orchard now here. My partner, Russ has been on webinars before. This is the realtor that we worked with to buy this, Donna. The orchard, again, our property goes all the way up to the top of this ridge and beyond. These are cliffs. We're going to put a Via Ferrata course here, which is something I've talked a little bit about in some other webinars. It's sort of a thrill seeker kind of a thing, like a ropes course, except it's on natural rocks, but it's not dangerous. It seems weird, but that's the case. More views of the orchard. Also, this is developable. So this is not that steep here. And we could put additional lodging units if we wanted to. We don't really want to add that much in the short term. Another developable area above the lodges. Irrigation system, which you can see here, the pond. This is looking up at the end of the property. I'm going to show several other views. There was a fire that went through years ago. So it's been replanted. There's young trees coming up all over here. And then eventually this will grow to be a much thicker forested area. But right now it's still, it's reviving, it's healing from the burn. I'm standing in the same place, just taking a different angle of that same area. Now I turned all the way around back towards the river. Salmon River's down here. This is what the treat area will look like. The fire didn't get as far down as where the lodging units were. This is a 5-acre area where we're going to use it for either parking vehicles or, back to the question about what's our capacity, we could add more lodging here. The key is we don't want to ever have more lodging than we could feed people, get water for people, have shelter for people if we were completely cut off from the outside world, which I hope never would happen, but if it did, we would be ready. A different angle, I'm looking this way and then I turned and I'm looking back this way. There's the river right down there. You can kind of see the water, the salmon. A different view of the pond. This is the inlet. This is where water is coming in. This water is coming at 53 degrees from a pipe that is a diversion from a stream called Warm Springs. We'll show that diversion. We have the water rights for that. We have the water rights for the springs, and we have water rights for a well. This is across the Salmon River on the other side. Those are stables. This roof needs work, but this was a stable with 3 horse stalls in it. These are a tack room and all with electrical and heating and air conditioning in them. This is where saddles could go on the other end. We're going to turn this into a combination of a kennel for dogs and stable for horses. By the way, these are hazy pictures because the day we did this was back 2 or 3 weeks ago when we still had all kinds of smoke from fires here in the Pacific Northwest. That's all gone. And if you remember the earlier pictures and some that we're going to see later where it's not there at all. Geese by the pond. This is one of the lodges again. This is in the pool building. All those chairs are sitting there because if you set this up for a presentation, a class, a group, they could seat about 60 in here. We had moved the pool table a little bit. Come on, go to the next slide. There we go. All right. The pool again, this is taken the day that we were visiting. That's the hot water, 107 degrees coming out, being piped directly over to the hot tub area. This is very big. This is, if you had if this was a swimming with lanes, this would probably be a 5-lane, where an Olympic pool is like 7 or 8 lanes, but it's very large. Again, coming right from the spring that's over here, underground, piped into here, then going across to the hot tub, which is right here. I might have skipped a slide here. I'm going to back up quickly. No, didn't. Then this is a decking and the pool building, and then covered and to where we could be having events and people could be out of the elements. This is a little ornamental pond that we'll actually put fish in, and it can be filled with either hot water or cold water or a combination. And it has been in disrepair. We've got work to do on it, but you can see it's really beautiful. It's probably about 50 feet across here. It's got a waterfall that'll come from here. Water will fall down these rocks and go out into it. I've got another view in another slide here. There's the waterfall coming here, and it would come down into here. Unfortunately, this has not been used for several years, so we've got a lot of work to do on it. Back to the grill area. Again, the office, the lodge. Now the front view of the lodge, we call this the Eagle's Nest up top, lodging unit there, units here, down here. There's this Warm Spring Creek that I was talking about. This is where the cold water, the 53-degree water, comes out of this creek, spring-fed creek, going down this canyon, and then we divert it into this pipe that is in the next slide here, right in here. There's the pipe, there it is there, and then it goes about half a mile away to where it goes into the lawn and landscaped area. These are blackberries and raspberries. This is the road up to that spring diversion that you just saw. These are some developable lots at the end and the west end of the property. We may or may not ever develop them. That remains to be seen. This is a better view of one. There's about 5 acres down here that's developable. Another backed up picture of that same. I was standing down here for those first 2 pictures. Now I'm walking the other direction, east. Now I'm even farther east, closer to the river. That's the Salmon River there. Finally, I'm farther away yet, and this is about 5 acres down here. This is looking the other direction. I just turned around. This is all developable also. Again, the Salmon River. That's an apricot tree that's fenced in by 8-foot tall fence to keep elk and moose out, which we do have at this area. And that's about 2 acres that can be a farm, which we're going to turn it into. This is our neighbors across the river. That's an RV park. The only way they can get to us is across that 1-lane bridge that we control. So we're completely secure over here. We have no neighbors on our side of the river. Again, there's that apricot tree looking back to where I was in those other images up this way. There's that 8-foot tall fence. Part of it's down here. We're going to have to repair it, but this is where we will build a market farm. And we'll grow enough vegetables here because we have warm water year round to feed 100 people probably. This is the gardens right behind us, so the farm, market farm. This is the Salmon River right down below it. All right, here's the irrigation gear. This is again where the spring is. This is again one of the more smoky days 2 weeks ago. This is inside of a building that is used for the well, but it's also concrete and it's underground. So it's like both a storm cellar, because there aren't really any storms here, or a root cellar. So it keeps a constant 50-degree temperature year round. This is a sauna in the pool building, all heated with the hot water from the spring, and keeping it at that 105 degrees or so, which is just perfect for a sauna. This is the greenhouse, which is in great shape. It's really in good condition. The louvers on the roof here. So this is a plexiglass covering. It'll withstand hail, you name it. These are panels that will raise and lower with the weather. This is irrigation piping here on the outside. It's about 30 by 50. This is the well building and the root cellar I was talking about. I did a little creative way that I made this picture. This is a rendering of shipping containers. That is the site in the background when it's in the fall, but that's the way two 20-foot shipping containers put on top of each other, that you could put them out and make a new structure if you wanted. And that could be for affordable housing that can be made so inexpensively. I think I have a second picture of those. No, I didn't put that in. There's the greenhouse from the outside. This is the irrigation piping that I said that's on a trailer. There's a little bit of work that needs to do in this. This was trellises so that you could grow vine type things on the outside of the greenhouse. So this is east facing. This is the south facing side. North is over here. This is a depiction of the lodging. This is that one we called the second lodge building with its 3 queen-size beds. Here's what we call the Eagle's Nest Suite, which has actually bedding for 6 people. And then these are the 5 suites on this floor. And there's one more suite down here on the bottom floor. Here was the office building, the grill, and if you remember, was right in here. This is that ornamental pond. Here's the big pond, and then this is the pool and the pool building, conference center. There's the root cellar / well building. As you can see, it's built into the side of the hill. It's got rocks on the top of it and soil. This is just a 4-wheeler that we're getting with the purchase, as well as a truck. This is completely different. This is a food trailer, brand new. This lady owns it, that we are buying from her, that we're going to use as a temporary high-end food production location while we redo the kitchen that I told you needed work. This is another view inside that root cellar building. That might be the last slide. I think it is. Yeah. Mark, those came out nice. You just need to size these right now so we can put captions on them. And we'll take this out, this one, Mark. The rest of these we'll leave in. This is the one we had this presentation pretty well made up to here, and then we added some additional slides this afternoon. All right, now I'm going to move away from this. Let's see if I know how to get out of it. I think I just hit escape. Yep, and go back here. And I'm going to open up. Time is it? Got 20 minutes. Mark, any other questions? I'm going to open up ChatGPT. Because I want to show you what some renderings are will show you how well the ChatGPT can now do some things. It's pretty amazing of what our kitchen's going to look like as we redo it. So this is a series of questions, a lot of them, that I've asked ChatGPT. So I've started giving memory to the OpenAI, that's the algorithm here, a lot of memory. It's gotten a lot of information, and therefore it was able to answer lots of questions. And I'm going to show you some of those because I want to get your opinions on it. But what I wanted to do now is go to a couple of images here. By the way, this is a third-party program called AI PRM that I purchased that adds on to ChatGPT all the different versions. So this is the most recent 4.0. That's the highest value. You could get all out of these others that, if you remember, all the way down to Chat GPT 3.0. But we're kind of using a little better quality than that now. I usually will scroll right through these. I want to get to them. They're about here somewhere. There. That's a version of a logo that we had made, and wasn't the one that we decided to use. We did decide to use one that looks a little like one of them that's in here. That one was much too busy. I'm not sure that we actually have the one that we ultimately decided for right here, but these other images are going to be back here soon. You can't look at all the mistakes it makes either, because it makes a lot. You can't just randomly use AI. You have to use AI in the context of understanding that it's going to do some hallucinations at times and not give you what you really want. I think I might have gone past these images. Here, oh no, this is one. I asked it to tell me what it would look like if we were to have people on a beach. And I said, wait a minute, that's way too many. Give me an update of a smaller. No, actually, I said, here you're going to see this one. This is more like what our beach is. That's pretty accurate, but it's got too many trees. So sometimes that's the way it messes up. This is the Salmon River. This is what it looks like. We have rapids just like this right outside our place. That's about how big our beach will be. We're not going to have that many people on it, but we don't have anywhere near this number of trees. So this is more accurate with the trees. It's still too many, but now it just completely enlarged the beach, which isn't accurate at all. And the river doesn't really look like this. There's not willows all along it like this shows. I think my images of the kitchen are coming up here. There. Oh yeah, it did work. This is what, and it's a really good depiction of what it is physically. So that old range, if you remember, was right in this part of the picture. We didn't take a picture over here. We just showed this way. And I've got a different image that'll show the cabinets over here. There is an island in the middle that is about this size. There's a place for the freezer over here. There's a window right back behind here. So this is a good depiction of what it could look like if we remodeled it in that way. I've got a couple more. This is the one that we really like, though, just because it's got more of the mountain theme, and this is kind of what it looks like. And that, the difference there is just to this one, notice they didn't have that sort of featuring on the ceiling above. And then it did before that, though, it did a couple we didn't like. That's industrial style. And some people like that. We just don't want that. That doesn't fit our decor. So we're not going to do, it does depict similar to what the picture was. This is also industrial style. This is too big though. This is bigger than what our kitchen is. The window is right over there, but that's bigger than what it would be. So to do that, I put in here this PDF, which is an image. I think can I open that? Maybe not. No, I don't think you'd open from here. This is actually the real image of the kitchen, which was one of the images that you saw here. Any other questions or comments, Mark, before I kind of go on and show a couple other things from the business plan? I want to show a couple other things.
There is, Robert asks, I'd guess 40 to 50 attendees to a conference might like to walk to a Hobbit house or hammock area instead of getting to Marriott. And then he's
There are hammocks, by the way. I didn't show views of them, but because of the density of the trees, or really the lack thereof, they're not that close together. You could put hammocks in between all those trees that are along the pond, but that's a, hammocks are a great thought for what people would like to go to. What
Right.
else in there, Mark?
And just dreaming, I guess, about the living light of the grid potential. Okay.
So again, this is 113 pages meant for us business plans are really used for three reasons. One, to look back at on a regular basis when you're operating and to see if what you're doing really mirrors what you had planned to do. To revise it, to take it up to the current, and then continue to do that look back on a regular basis. A lot of people don't do that, but they should, a lot of business owners. And we'll use this for that. So as we get things started, this is where we'll start. But 3 months from now, we probably will look at it quarterly. In 3 months, we'll see where we're at. If we've done differently than what we say here, we'll modify it to then tell us what we're going to be doing moving ahead. So that's one purpose. The second is to get funding. That's the biggest purpose for this one for us. We are trying to raise 2.7 million out of the 5.5. We already have half of it that we'll be spending for acquiring the property that we've already spent, and then for upgrading. So we're going to do about 1.5 million in upgrades, and then have another about 700,000 for equipment and for operating capital as we move from startup to a profitable model. So it's got, all these sections, target market. Let me go back to the table of contents. So there's an executive summary. What's the opportunity? Problems and solutions, target market, competition, a marketing plan, sales plan, operations plan. What are some milestones and metrics that we're trying to reach? Who is it that's doing it? Overview of the company and the team. And then a financial. And the financial, notice that starts on page 40, and it goes from 40 through probably 70, and then there's appendices at the end that we end it with. By the way, we have 9 minutes left. We will try to make sure we're finished at 4, and if you have more questions, we can answer those, but we'll be done with our presentation by that time.
Yeah, here's a question. Wayne, what about the sulfur content in the spring water?
Yeah, there
Could
is
it?
some. That's what makes it
Okay.
healing. Yeah, that's exactly right. We've had it analyzed, and the sulfate is within the parameters of what's considered. Remember, healing water is not without controversy. And by the way, I got something that I rubbed a little salt off of some crackers that I was eating and got into my eye. That's why I'm rubbing my eye here. I'll post next week the analyses that we got from the lab related to all the different parameters of the water. Another one that you probably should ask about is arsenic. Arsenic can be very toxic, and typically when a spring comes out of a rock like it does here, and it's granitic, metamorphosed, breaking apart granite. It can have arsenic. There wasn't any arsenic in the results of the lab reports that we got. Sulfate levels are really where we want them to be. The best way to really kind of judge is when you get into that hot tub, which by the way, it is so pleasant to have it be body temperature. So when I've gone in it, and I've been in it 3 times now, I first go into the cooler water, which is body temperature, and I let my body acclimate to that. And when I first get in, and everybody I've talked to says the same, there is a sulfur smell. You smell it, but it goes away. Your body gets used to it, and you sort of your nasal sense is dull to it, I guess. And then it's gone. I mean, you really don't smell it. And again, the analysis we did say that the sulfur and all the other chemicals in it, minerals and such in it, are within the parameters of both being safe for contact, dermal on your skin, drinking, so ingestion, and then finally, the mud itself, which we analyzed, is also got acceptable levels, appropriate levels for all of that. Now, does that mean that it heals? I don't think that there's a doctor alive or a naturopathic physician that would say, I can prove that water will heal you, mineral water. There are lots of stories, though, of people who had all kinds of different problems, cancers, heart problems, kidney problems, um, cirrhosis, different skin problems that have done different sessions. Usually it's 30 days in a row in a healing water situation that have had really positive responses. So we're going to be doing courses with instructors that will come in, and we won't be talking about it again sitting on a desk. We'll be talking about it while people are um, dealing or in the water, and while we're taking more samples, and we'll use portable sampling equipment even in the field and be able to sample in different places in the springs and all kinds of those kinds of features to just try to gain more knowledge about the healing factors. So that was a little more than what you asked, Robert, but sulfur is present and we want it to be, and it's in sort of an appropriate level.
Bio bioassay might decide whether the fish might need a special source of water or them, I guess. Um,
Um,
okay.
yeah, bioassays are standardized processes using either certain species of fish or algae or aquatic plants that you put into waters that you're concerned about whether they're going to be safe for growing those, and and then you both assay the quality of the meat, for example, the muscle in the fish after you've grown in them. You see if they're going to affect their health, if they die, or do some negative things. And and if we're going to use this hot water directly to grow plants in for human consumption or grow fish or other aquatic organisms in for human consumption, absolutely we would want to make sure that its characteristics were healthy. We won't use the hot water that way. We're going to use the spring water as the water that the fish and the aquatic plants and others grow in, and we're going to heat those with the hot water. So it'll be indirectly using the heat value to grow plants year round. That hot water will not be used until we do a lot more testing of it to grow plants or grow
And
fish.
then uh, he writes, koi could be happy just being warmer all winter long.
Oh,
So I
absolutely.
thought, is
Yeah.
fish cold-blooded? So I think they could be frozen and still be alive.
Well, koi live down to just above freezing. Obviously, no, I don't know that. I mean, there are stories of people saying that their koi were in a pond that froze from top to bottom and they lived. I think they're almost
Okay,
anything. They just found a pocket of some places where there was water. So I don't think a koi can be frozen and live. I think it can
right.
be surrounded by ice and it'll hibernate really and live. But I
Uh-huh.
believe that a fish out of water will live.
Yeah.
So,
And the hot spring water. I think even the ancient medicine they recommend that it's good for you. I know that it cures some of the uh diseases. So
Right.
even in Chinese and Oriental medicine,
A lot of different, again, more naturopathic.
right? Yeah, you remember Dr. Miller was on talking about COVID, and he said
Yeah.
some of the stuff that Asians use could be good for COVID. So he
So
was
here's a
controversial. Yep.
quickly projected P&Ls for the next 2 years, a little bit of this year. We're actually going to hopefully start generating revenues in December. This is a pretty attractive P&L. We're going to make 49% in 2025 and 47% in 2026. Pretty nice net margins. Um, And you're probably saying, well, how do you know that? Well, we don't. You never know. That's why I said you can look back at projections and see that you made mistakes or not. But I've done this before. This will be my third different resort model like this. And I've said before in this, even this presentation, the difference is we have the lodging for this one that I've never been able to have before. That lodging you saw images of is, especially as we refurbish it some, is 5-star lodging. It's the best that you can get, and it'll allow us to do all kinds of things and have really amazing profitability. Anyway, the very end of this, I'm not going to spend. I'll quickly do it in a minute. Here's all, by the way, our projections of what our renovation costs are. So um, technology improvement somewhere in the 10 to 30,000 for broadband, energy efficiency 10 to 50, permits and fees, wellness and guest amenities. I mean, just we've pretty much taken them all in consideration. But finish it up here quickly. Here are 20 of the kinds of activities that we're going to be doing. Geothermal hot springs wellness experience. So mineral baths with guided meditation sessions focused on rejuvenation and healing, taking advantage of the geothermal properties. Sustainability masterclass. Obviously, we'll have different permaculture people and others and doing a masterclass. Economic boot camp for entrepreneurs. Nature immersion therapy. That's the other kind of healing that a lot of people believe is amazing, which I'm one of them, is that you just feel good when you're in the forest. And we have that. So we're bird watching, forest bathing, wilderness walks, geothermal powered spa treatment. So we'll have some of that. Wildlife photography excursions, corporate sustainability. So this is to teach business leaders for companies of what they could be doing in their own companies. Eco venture challenges. So we have all kinds of outdoor adventures we can do. Eco gardening workshops. This is one that somebody else brought up. So it's Starlink powered digital detox, which I'm not sure how realistic that is. Culinary cooking, geothermal greenhouse, just not just tours, but how you can do them. River of No Return, the Salmon River, that's its name, that's its nickname, the River of No Return. Regenerative farming workshops, eco-friendly tiny homes experiences, healing properties of water, a lab, just have a lab where we can work on things, mindfulness and nature retreats, remote working eco hub, and then a certification program, which we haven't had to date. So that would be something new. So we are 2 minutes past. Mark, any other questions?
No, I don't see questions. I see some comments. So Robert says looks like pretty hot location there and defeats your nature deficits.
Okay, not sure what that means, but
Huh.
anyway. Um, Thanks, everybody. This has been fun. Watch the replay. Tell everybody to look at the replay and love ideas from you. And I want all of you to come and visit us sometime.
Yep.
Thanks. Take us out.
Thank you.